Well, good morning, and we're not much further than we were when I stopped the video yesterday. I did a little more work, but kind of deciding which direction to go here. And we did get, I think you remember if you were watching that video, that we put some tape in there and pulled this back. And I was trying to make sure that I had this sitting exactly where I wanted it to go. And we're looking at the points on these bevels are not exact, but they're pretty close. And I'm not talking about where I'm setting them. I'm just talking about where they were actually made. The bevel, the miter's, not super straight right there, but for a bevel, pretty good. So we can live with this diamond thing here, star-shaped thing right here where it is. And when I set it in here, I thought I might need to grind. If you remember yesterday, we ground off a little of this right here, but it looks like it's nice and solid right there. I really don't want to move it beyond that particular spot. And I set this piece here in, but I didn't cut it yet because I'm not sure if I'm far enough down here yet, and if I don't have the right distance in this piece right here, then that would certainly play off into here. So I didn't want to cut this and then have to end up grinding both of them out. We'll come back and take a look at this. So sometimes when I get started on one of these for the day or for however many hours I'm going to work on it, sometimes I'll look at a spot that's easy or easier, and I'll take that first, kind of just build up a little momentum. And I looked how I had this set here from yesterday, and I thought, well, we could go ahead and put this piece in. That's not going to cause us any problems. And put that piece in. We could also work on this area right here if we wanted to, or we come back over here. I'll most likely come back over here, but it really wouldn't make any real difference. So let's go over here, and this piece with the seeds going this direction was cut off our original big sheet that's laying right there. And so we got this distance here right on both sheets. So what we want to do now is I laid this thing up here to get an idea of where I want it, and I've given myself a little bit of room to grind off here, rather than if have cut this too much of this, then we go in here too far and we've ruined this piece. So how do we, and I'll show you this right now, how do we get really good fit here? Well, we're going to sit it in. I always get sit. We'll get this sitting in the zinc channel, and then we're going to push it over here. Okay. And then let's put some pressure on it. So make sure we've seated it as best we can. And I don't know whether you can see this or not. Maybe, probably. We're a little bit long here. So most likely that means that we're not fitting that well over here. And I don't doubt you can see this, but just in line with that piece of lead is the edge of that glass. So we need to go about 1.5 millimeters that far. Okay, now so you say, well, all right, the way we're going to have to do that, we wouldn't want to grind that off. If we grind this off here, then that would take us in over here. So we would solve the problem of being able to get the glass under here. We'll be under here real well, and we'll be over here. But the fact of the matter is that we can't see through this lead, right? We don't know where we are, or the edge of that glass is underneath that lead. So let's just take this Paper Mate flare. Boy, I use these so much. And go right on the lid. Right on the lid. Get a nice mark. Now when we pull that glass back out of there, it's going to tell us where we are underneath the edge of that. And you know, one thing that I didn't do, and let me look right here. We need that lid to be all up on this to conform. Okay, it was up there. I just want to make sure we're about ready to make a grind on a piece of glass, but if we don't have the lid seated, then we're going to have a problem. Okay, let's look at that. That's very interesting. So this is telling us that we're barely under the lid here, and we're under here, and we're most likely with only 1.5 millimeters. We're hitting the inside of the lid there, and hitting the inside of the lid there, but not there. So the smart move would be to grind off this area out here, not to mess with that. And that should take us under here, because we're going this way, right? And it should straighten up this over here. So here's another little something that I showed you. Let me get this. I showed you this tip in, and I'll do this again because people always want to know this. I'm going to use a diamond scribe here. And there's a diamond chip right in the end of this thing. Okay, you can retract it like a pen, I guess. I keep mine out all the time. There you go. And then this is a refill for it, but I never needed the refill. And this thing's several years old. I've used it a lot. But what I'm going to show you here is it's tedpella.com. All lowercase, one word, tedpella.com. There's the company, Ted Pella Incorporated. And this scribe is going to be 54468. And I wouldn't waste money. I think these are $18, $20 or something. On the refill. Man, I mean, I use this thing on the entire wisteria lamp, and it's still going. So, but I think the shipping on this thing's about as much as the scribe, like $20 for the shipping, which is just crazy. But they're the people that have it, and I can't find anybody else that's got diamond. There are people that try to offload these tungsten tipped scribes. They just don't work. I've got one over here. Okay, here's what we're going to do. All that talking for this. We're going to take the scriber and we're going to mark the line that exists right on. I'm looking, make sure you can see what I'm doing. Okay, and I'm going to go up here. Now you notice we're not going to be grinding anything here. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is get a Sharpie, black Sharpie, and I'm just going to, boy, that Sharpie needs ink. Here's another one. I got a whole box of these. Okay. I must have left these out. You ever see anything? Look at that. I got some new ones. This is probably going to be enough for this, but we might as well just let these two go. I think I do remember what I used those up on. I'm looking, there you go. Let's not play. Here's a whole, I know these, I guarantee these are good. I don't know how many I buy at a time. I hate running out of stuff. Okay, here we go. Oh, yeah. See. Okay, now, this is a good tip right here. And of all the years of doing this, I just figured this one out, oh man, a couple of years ago. Okay, now, we have the lines that we want to grind to. And when you come over here, turn this big light on. You can see that. Just plain as day, that line. And it won't disappear. see, we're grinding back to the center. You know, and I think I'm not going to be nuts. I'm going to grind about half of that. Same as this one. You can always grind more. That just tells us the placement of our grinding and pretty much how much we need to grind. So we didn't take everything. We'll come back and look at this just in a second. We didn't take all of our grinding. We took about half of it, somewhere in that neighborhood. Okay, let's see if you can see. Yeah, there's still about, see the black line? Boy, that is such a good tip. Okay, now I'm watching right here. Whoop. Okay, we are really close here. Not close enough, but we're close. Now what I want to do is do this. Now let's mark the whole thing. And we want to see if we need to go ahead and grind a little more. That would take us further under here and would also clean this up. But is that a smart move? Okay. There you go. We're hitting here. Or not, we're not hitting in there deep enough, rather. And we could go a little bit more all across here. It's gotten kind of even now, so we'll just grind to that line. And if I grind real close to that line, I'm assuming this line here is going to go under further. Let's try that. I think this should just about do it. Now, some people that do this stuff are kind of in a hurry for some reason. And so I just take my time. I don't care how long this takes. If I mess this up and I have to cut another one, I'll just go over here and cut another piece of glass. I don't want to do that, but if I have to, we certainly will. Okay. Now, oh man, that looked really good. Okay, now we're on the money here. Right on the line. I tell you, I'm out like just a hair right there. But before I clean just the edge of that, let's go back here again. Boy, I really don't want to fool with that. We're under all the way around exactly the right amount. So let's come right here and just clean off this edge right here. There's also a little bump right here. Let's take that bump there. Okay, and come down here just a little bit. Just feather that in. All right, this should do it. It's a major piece of glass here, and we've got a really good fit on it. Of course, this is an easy one to do, too. All right. We can take that number off there. I thought I was going to have to chase that later on. I had actually planned that I would have all this bottom done and then come back to here, but I thought, you know, this is a good spot just to lock this section here in. Okay, now I want to see, taking the larger end of this thing. Something Something is aggravating me right here. I'm still not. Yeah, now it's tight. I could feel a little bit of movement in this lead here, which means there's too much space under there. But now that I'm pushing against it, I don't have any issues. Whoop. There you go. Okay, let's do this. We're not putting this one in yet, so we can go ahead and easily nail this down. Okay, and then I want to make sure we don't slide out this way. Here's one here. Actually, I was trying to get a nail that was already picked up, but I don't have one, so we get one here. Nice and solid. Okay. Now, you know what? Something is bothering me right there. Well, when this piece of glass here goes in, it'll hit tight there, but I don't want it to open me up a spot right here. So why am I want to look at this again. Now, we could still clean this up some more here because we got all kinds of room here to get underneath the big wide piece of zinc. I just want to make sure. See, I pulled this lead back where it's supposed to go, and I just want to look here and see, is there some reason that I'm not pushing that lead that 0.5 millimeter? Obviously there is a reason. I just want to see what it is. Okay, let's pull this back out. Tedious work. I'm just trying to decide. We're so good here. There is a bump right here. I'm thinking if I took that bump out, would I be able to move that direction, or am I hitting down here? Because I want to go just ever so slightly this way. Okay, let's do this. Let's take this bump out first. Okay, now theoretically, that would allow me to move if I have any room here. I'm going to take just a hair off this. Boy, not much. I'm kind of splitting hairs here right now, but I'd really rather have that. I mean, it's good enough, but I'd really rather have it tighter if I could get it without sacrificing the piece. I don't want to do that. Okay. Let me... Okay. Now I want to go right here. I don't have the, what do you call it, shakes or whatever. It's just I'm pulling real tight there and my hand's shaking a little bit. Okay. I don't have the shakes yet. That will be the end of my career. Okay. We're not moving any of this direction, and we're certainly not moving this direction. So now let's see where we're at now. Gum, it's still... It's not enough to make much difference, but well, maybe what it is just I still think that should be tighter. See, I see the movement under the edge of the lid right there. If I didn't see, now there it's nice and solid, but there's still something. All right, gonna do something else here. Let's pull this down completely here. I don't want any of that moving. Okay, and we've got it tight here. Okay, let's mark this again. Gee whiz, I don't think we can mess with that. I wonder, I'm a little wider right here, and I see we're back to the original scribe mark. There's that original scribe mark right there. I wonder what would happen if I took that little bit right there off. And just a little bit of this. Kind of glad that you're seeing this, is what I call fine tuning. It's not necessary to get ridiculous with this, but you know, if it's something that it's not 100% right, nope, it's not going to make a bit of difference in the integrity of the window overall. But if you have a chance to fix something, then why leave it in there? If it's totally insignificant, well, but in it really pretty much is. But if I have a chance to fix it, now that doesn't mean anything, because if I pull this out, see, that's still there, and I haven't made any headway in fixing it. So I think I'm going to do this. I've got some room. I think I'm going to come down here and take a little more here and see if I can go further in, just for drill. This is probably not necessary, but good for you to see. Okay. What I'm thinking is the key here is that if I go further that way, then I've got to end up going further this way, which would, and if I stay off of grinding up here and stay down here, sooner or later this is going to hit and stop that little bit of movement. Like I say, we're reaching a point here of nitpicking. However, it's good lesson. Good lesson for me, and it's a good lesson for you. Figure this stuff out. Okay, I want to hammer this down because I don't want it to move. Okay, that's tight. Oh yeah, now there you go. Yee. See that? I've loosened it up here, and we're there we go, right there. Okay, now let's go this direction. Let me retighten this. All right. Okay, we got it. So, see it now? See it quit moving? Okay, so the key was just a tiny bit off of here, and we took such a small amount that we're still on the line up here. Still in good shape. So there you go. Man. Sometimes you just got to play with these things, but I hope you noted or noticed that it was all slow and deliberate. No, make any big adjustments. Just take it easy, a little at a time, because you don't want to lose this thing by going in there and grinding off too much. I made a mistake on this piece already, which I've recovered from, but careful consideration when it comes to grinding. Okay, we don't need to put that in because we don't have these. We'll come down here on a area that's a little more difficult. I think this would actually be pretty easy the way it's set up there. But we're going to come down here because I actually want to be able to leave this in here because I've got it fit so well, and I want to build a piece around it. And it's with respect to some questions that people ask, why don't you go ahead and put the cluster together first, put it all together, and then build a window around it? Well, I thought about that for like a few seconds. And the reason I don't want to do that is because how in the world am I going to hold and say, well, use push pins and nails and all that. I want to hold this cluster all the way around as I build it in space. And then this cluster has to, then I get it built, right? And you could end up pushing it a little this way or a little that way, a little this way, a little back, when you're soldering it up. And it's got to hit these 4 axes, these straight lines. It's got to hit those on here, and it's also got to hit it this way. So now I've got this thing already built. What if it's slightly cocked? Well, I'll never get it lined up all the way across. And then the other reason is on most all the stained glass windows that I build, now people are certainly free to do it whatever way works for you, but I need a reference. So on this particular panel, we started out with a rectangular drawing, and I've wanted to build the panel, which I always do, generally from this right-hand corner, that direction. And so we build it out, and we always have a reference here, because this thing has to be 18 by 30. If I jump up in here and build this section first, and then try to get this stuff to fit and be square all the way across, I don't know. I'm not saying it couldn't be done. It seems to me, with the experience that I have, that would be a difficult thing to do. It'd be difficult to get this thing set right and built by itself, and then to get it integrated in to all this kind of work around here. I don't know about that. This 3/16 lead is difficult enough the way we're doing it right here. Okay, now I don't think we can. Ooh, that actually sort of fits. See, you're running into. This might need a little bit of alteration. All right, let's think about how we want to do this. I think that we're going to end up moving this out of the way just to get this in. And then there may be some grinding here, I don't know. It bothers me that I'm up into here. So that would be fixable, but you would have to come down here and alter this, and it can't alter this because this fits. So if you're going to alter anything, you're going to clean this area up here and alter this. I don't really want to take that out either. So I would just work on these pieces here to get them to fit. So I'm trying to think about the best way to do that. I think the best way would be to set a piece of lead right here and slide this one in. I don't mind moving this out. I think we're going to be moving that. And it might be smart to try to set that up. You know what we may do here? We may, since this fits pretty well right here, we may go ahead and put lead all the way around this and set that in there, have another piece of lead here, take this out, and see if we can make that work. And then that would let us know if we need to grind any of this out of here. So let's do that. Okay. So I'm going to get us a piece of lead. This certainly looks adequate right here. Okay, and we want, and this time we're going to make sure we have enough lead. We're not going to short ourselves up on any of this stuff up here on this end. So we're kind of pre-curling this just a little bit. Didn't pre-curl it enough. There we go. Okay, and we're going to go on out the top of this thing. I want to have plenty of lead. And now all we're doing now is just bending that around there. And most likely this is not going to go all the way to the end because it's going to intersect this piece here, like where is the inside? Like here. It'll do a number like that, intersect it there. Is that right? No. Here. I'm in the wrong spot. Right here. So see, there's a whole section cut out right here where it intersects this long piece. The fly in the ointment here is that I think we're going to be running into this piece. So we're going to need to do some alteration right in here. So let's go ahead and just cut this thing a little longer than what we need. Which is just, let's just cut it. Is that going to be a, yeah, that'll work. Okay. We can use the lead dikes for this. Okay, there's this piece. Now, I bet we could start moving that out of here in a minute. Okay, here's the plan. There's the plan. We're going to try to get it into here. So I think it's probably a good idea to just slide this out. Man, I do hate to do that, since I have such a good fit right here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to nail this down right here. You know, and I don't want anything moving anywhere. Now this is locked in here, but let's not take a chance. All right. I always kind of just look at what I'm looking at. Now we need to put a piece of lead in here for this to slide into. So let's get us a piece here. And it's going to fit at an angle to all this stuff right here. There's our... A lot of people have these. These things are great. Okay. And let's lift up the thing there so we can... You know, yeah. See here, we made that one piece there. So let's just keep this thing long enough. You know, I don't think it would hurt anything. I was going to say I could shear some more off of that lead, but that's going to make a pretty good looking joint right there, so we won't mess with it. And why don't we just leave that up there? Just leave that sitting there. Okay, so we like where that is. Now here's where I want to make... I want to put a lockdown right here so I can work here, but I don't want to take a chance on that thing going that way, even though we have it locked here. So let's put a lock right here. All right. Okay, now we're reasonably sure that's not going to be moving around. And now this is going to get real intense right here. I got a feeling. Oh yeah, you genius. Okay, let me look here. Does this even fit? Well, that looks actually pretty good there. So why don't we do this? Instead of having to flop it around, fight with it, that sure looks like it's in a good spot. Okay, I'm going to get you where you can see this. I'm trying to anchor it back to this thing. I just don't want it moving around. Okay. Oh, I surely don't want to have to be moving this. Well, this would actually come out of here. I don't know. Let me think about this. I bet you I'm going to have to move that. Or, I wonder if I put this piece here back in here, can I slide that in there? I'm going to have to try that. I'm just trying to think of how I want to do this. Well, this lid here is going to really get in the way. So I think I'm going to go ahead and guesstimate where that lead is. And if we make a mistake on this lead, we can always cut another piece of lead. Do I want to crawl this way or this way? Okay, we're going to try this. I'm not sure that's enough. Put this right here. I think we're going to be moving this, looks like. Yeah. Now I'm thinking if I move that, I hate to pull this out, but it's sure. I'm either going to have to pull that or pull this. Ooh, we're so close. Let me, I got to see if there's any danger of me pulling on this to break anything. Let's try this. Let's try turning it. All right. Take my hat off, getting hot. Here is where you just have to think it over. I'm still looking at this thing right here. I don't think that's causing me the issue of not being able to get this in here. It's just, I wonder if I'm going to try this. We're going to try to attach this to this rather than this to this. And see what that does. Maybe, you would, theoretically, it would just slide in there. Let's try that. Somebody's watching me thinking, hey, pull this one out and attach it to this one and you'll get this in. A beautiful thing about this stuff is there's no directions. Okay. Now we can certainly move this configuration around. Now, can I slide that? You'd think that would slide right in there. Oh, I swear that's going to work. I hope. Let's see. Oh! Okay. Now, here's where it's going to get, we're going to really have to pay attention to what we're doing. And because we're way up into this other piece. So, let me pull this off here and just see what all this looks like under here. And see how much alteration we're going to have to do to make this fit. Now, see, that's a pretty good looking, symmetrically, that looks good across here. You know, I'm thinking, if this piece would go a little further down this way, I could curl this upper part. Let's get our, okay, we're putting our, now I'm trying to kind of pull down. It won't get it, we won't get much. We might get a little bit. So, all right, I'll show you how much of it. We're out like about 3.5 miles here. And I want to figure out, is there anything I can do? I don't think I can do anything here. And I'm trying to think, if this thing, if we were to come down this way, we haven't done ourselves any good, because we would end up taking this whole section here down. Let me do this. We're at this is the name of this game right here. I remember, I can't remember where I had one of these clusters here, I don't know, a year or two ago, and I was in the center of this thing, and it was just like being in a fight. You know, you're trying this and that, this and that, and this thing has to look, you know, correct. So, let me put this piece here in there and see how far off we are here. Maybe it's just, well, that's a little, it's off a little, but you see, I'm thinking, I'm kind of wanting that thing to go more that way, but the design, that's not part of the design. So let's just keep thinking here. I could fix this. Here's the issue at hand. Okay, let's do this. Now, where are you going to go and find somebody in the deep doo-doo that I'm currently in, and how am I going to get out of it? There's the key. How am I going to get out of that? I'll get out of it. I don't know how I'm going to get out of it, but I'm going to get out of it. Okay, what I'm doing right there is I want to pull this nail up and see how far out. Just because the drawing says I'm there does not mean I'm there. However, we'll be taking some measurements because I don't want to be, you know, up one side and down on this other. So let's get this out of there. And bear in mind that some of this lead won't be there. I think we need to be able to see right under here. So what would happen? What would it look like? We're real close to that, even with the issues that I'm having here right now. We're pretty close to the original cartoon, and I know the original cartoon would make this piece. Okay, here's the key. There you go. Let's set this thing in there. You know, it's not as bad as I thought it was. Well, see, I got fixated on the original cartoon, and the original cartoon was just these bevel pieces put down on a piece of paper and a line drawn around them. That's all it was, and so it not taking into consideration any of the thickness of the hearts of the lead down to this point or up to this point. So, well, now we still have to get this thing in here, but man, I don't know. We're not so bad off here. If I'm thinking now that I may not even. Well, I'm going to need to. Here's what I'm going to need to do. I'm thinking no, wait a minute. Let's see how this fits into that situation. We'll make that work. I'm just seeing where this is going to fit. Okay, these lines right here. See that line there? I think I'm going to cut that lead back to that point and cover this thing all the way around with lead and then see if I can get that to fit in there. That will tell me if I need to grind. I really don't want to grind on this. If I need to grind a little bit of this out or not. So we're gonna well, I don't know about. I think I'm gonna move that lid right to there and right to there. See, it's all about just trying to think this thing over, and when I'm doing this stuff, I say, this thing doesn't fit. You know, it doesn't fit. Hardly anything ever fits. I mean, you're building it as you go, so you're not going to get. It's not a jigsaw puzzle. It's already built. Okay, there's that one. And here's this one. And if we took too much, we'll cut it again. We get through this section here, you know, in a pretty good spot. This is pretty rough here. And I'm pleased that you're seeing this, because this is, I'll get that off the glass later. This is the name of this game right here. Okay. Now I want to slide. There you go. I got to be careful here. I don't want to break anything. Like I say, we're way off the cartoon, but we're way off the cartoon right here too. I have to get somewhat past that idea that yeah, we're definitely not gonna. I'll tell you what we're gonna do. I want to make sure I'm in here. what we want to do and I'm before I decide on grinding any of this, I want to see how this thing fits. Now see there, let me put this in there. Okay. This is real critical, see, because this has to lay down on this line. So that, I'm going to get this out of here without tearing anything up. Now, whoop, I moved it. That's real close to where that has to go right there. Maybe I should just put a new line down. Put an X on this line. Okay. Now, here's where we're going to clean this thing up. There's our new line for this piece. Boy, there's just not much of this that needs to be ground off. I wonder... You see what I'm doing? I'm trying to look at this piece and this piece, the relationship. And see, you don't want to get what you come down here and grind all this out of here to get yourself back to that cartoon, and you made a mistake. So, boy, I'm starting to look at. I don't know. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to go around this thing with lead, push it up in here. And that'll tell me right there, do we need to grind off, and how much of that? So let's do this. Let's lock this. I think we have a plan, but I'm not positive. Okay, let's get us a nice long piece of lead. Okay. Can you see? Yeah. Let me get a little more up here. There. Okay, this thing's taking, as I showed you on another one, this thing's taking a pretty good jog right here. So we're going to cut a little. Can you see me? Yeah, I'm going to cut a little V out of there. Okay. So I cut a little notch out of it. See it turn and make that. Come on, genius. Make that turn. Okay, there you go. See that? Of course, you're going to solder that. All right. See where you are. Okay, this is the. Dang. Woo, boy, was that close. I nearly. Now, we're not done yet. Let's I want to put this in just to see, we still have to come back and get this piece of glass here in. So I just want to see if this is going to fit. Man. And see, the placement of this piece, it can't go that way because you don't want to run over that line up here, and it can't go this way because you don't want to be too far under that line. So this is placed perfectly. See that? And look, we did not grind anything out of here, and I thought we were going to need to tear out some of that glass right there. Now we'll suck this around here a little bit and have a smaller solder joint. We'll fix that. I'm not too worried about that. Just the fact that we've got this thing in here is a big deal to me. Okay. So now we got to come back and let's just pull this up for fun and see how far out this thing is. Oh, you got to be kidding. Look at that. Okay. Now, you know, I need to just lock some of this stuff down. Let me go right here. I gotta be careful here. I don't have enough hands to... I do not want to hit that glass. Okay, that's okay. And let's put one right here so we can... Okay, and that doesn't want to lift up, right? So, there you go. Put a little piece of lead under it. Or nail, rather. Another nail. Another... That's 2 lessons here about take it easy, boy. Be careful with that grinding. You grind yourself into a... Man, that's deluxe right there. Okay. How bad is this? We're going to end up having to move this, but... I don't have that. You know, we got to get... See, all that's going to have to go up to get into this. However, I can see now we're going to need to get rid of this right there. Ouch. We'll get this thing here in, and then we'll give you guys a break. Boy, you know, once you get something placed, do you ever hate to move it? But I got to get lead here and then see if this is going to fit. There'll be some alterations to this thing. I can just about guarantee that. So let's get a piece of lead. Let's just pull this out. Put a piece. Mark this right there. Hope that's not... Let's go make it a hair longer. Okay, put this in. Put this in. There you go. Okay. Now we're probably going to have to lift this up. And then we're probably out all over the place here, but we've been so fortunate to get this in that I'll just live with having to move it. Oh, I hate moving this. Boy, we got that one nailed in. Okay, here we go. Oh, yeah. Whoop. Well, man, we got all kinds of issues here. All right. We're not even close here, but see, we've added this. This one has been added in. All right, the first thing I notice is I'm hitting right there before I ever even get into here. So let's just get that cleaned up right now. Here we go. And Hopefully we don't mess any of this up because we'll have to cut it again. Let me get on the white where you can see. Oh man, I tell you, I think people see, you know, they look at that bevel cluster in the center of a window. Doesn't look that complicated. Well, that shouldn't be much. You know, you buy the bevel cluster so you don't even have to do that. And then all you have to do is just put it together. Yeah, that's all you have to do. Okay. Now, the old key again. How close are we? I don't know. Oh yeah, that's running up under there. I can see that. All right. Now I know I'm off this line right here, and that's on purpose. I'm off. I took another set of measurements, and I'm off about 1.5 millimeters in the line. So I moved this line over, and see, I've made myself a note up here to move the line over there too. So we're good. We're okay with that. Don't worry about that. All right. The next thing is, you can't imagine how much I hate to have moved all of that, because I had that stuff right where I wanted it. So we'll lock this down, and we may have to move it 2 or 3 times. I always say with this stuff that you really got to like to do this. Now I'm all out where we were fitting, now we're not. Okay, let's see what's wrong here now. So, you know, it might be smart for just the time being to lock this down. I'm telling you. Now, unless I have no idea what I'm doing, this is some kind of tedious stuff. See, that doesn't even come close to fitting. Now, we haven't altered this yet. See there? So, I would say, now let's do this. Let's get another piece of tape and pull this line here. So I don't have that flopping in my way, and I want to see how far out we are here. Here's where that glass would... Well, you know, for some reason it doesn't look like it's that... It just doesn't fit the curvature right. All right, and see here I see is the problem. Let me get my marker. We need to get rid of some of this glass right here. Right there. Oh, fun and games. We get to take this thing back off here. You know, this is not fitting right here. So, I can tell you that's not fitting. I'm trying to think of if I pull any more out of here, I'm going to be pulling even further away from here, which is not that big a deal, but it'll alter this and it'll alter that. See, because we've ground that already. Might be a little mistake there. Let's see. We don't need much here, so let's see what we need. We're a little bit loose here, so we don't have to grind there. So we need to grind this area right here and see if I can go further in that way. I still got to take this off, so let's go and see what that does. Yeah, see, we're hitting here. So let's do this. If this doesn't work, we'll cut another piece. Which I don't want to do. cut some of this off right here. Now the mistake is going to be, see, I got froggy and ground that off right there ahead of this other fit. So if you want to see a mistake, that was a mistake. And that may cost us this piece of glass, which is, yeah, I got to cut off the main sheet to get this line to run the right way. Or, I got one right there I could use, which I'd rather not, but okay. Well, that made us closer, but we're still not where we want to be. Okay. Okay, we got further into there, but we're still not, we're not under here where we need to be. I can't imagine there's anybody left watching this. There will take us this way. Now we're getting kind of drastic here now. So, and usually when you get down to this point and have this many things wrong with one piece, I'm going to try to bring this in. But if I can't, we'll use it to make a pattern. Or I'll just put a pattern under here and cut another piece. Whoa, that's still not right. See, I'm still got an area right here that I'm not under. Well, we're under there, but well, we might be able to yet get, I don't know. I think we're going to get far enough under here that we're going to be screwed up right here. I'm starting to think I want to throw this piece out. I don't do that very often. Well, I'm thinking now maybe I grind a little more here. Okay, this is the make or break it right here. And I'd feel a lot better about this if I hadn't ground that section right there off, because I would think I can make this work. But I think I made a mistake. You know, I just hate this fit right here. Or I think I do. No, now there's some room here, so I could still come off of here. Boy, that's awful close to right. Let's get a little more. Okay, that's about all we're going to be able to take off of that piece. If it, for some reason, some part of this thing doesn't fit this time, that means a new piece of glass. Okay. Well, that's actually under there pretty good now. And we're tight there. So now we should be way off up here now. Yeah. So let's just lay this thing here right there. And we'll just keep whacking away here till one way or another this thing either is going to fit or we replace it. I usually don't have to replace very many of these, but Every now and then you get something like this. And it just doesn't work out, you know. And one thing about this kind of stuff, this is where you learn. You get in here and start fighting this stuff, and it's working you over. And this is where you figure out how to get out of these jams. Okay. Hey, we're not out of this one for sure yet. If we can get out, let's cut another piece of glass, but I'd like to see if I can get this one to work. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to get our little tool here. Now, the way I'm looking at this thing is that we're going to need to clean off that edge right there. At least I think we do. Do I know for sure? No, I don't know. I don't know. I think this problem I had here hasn't kind of solved itself. So let's see here. Now, what I want to do is, let's just tape that down. Lock this here. I think we got out of that. I think. Okay. This is all sitting there locked down. I'm going to pull this out. And if I had to guess, well, no, I don't know. I was going to say I thought I had to grind out that, but maybe not. Wow, I can't believe it. I'll get this lid over here a little tighter over there. We'll make some good solder joints right there. Don't sweat that too much. All right. Woo! I feel like I've been in a fight. Okay, we'll make this work. Now, fortunately, I thought ahead. It didn't get froggy and cut this thing. And we'll lay this down. Let's do this. See how far off we are here. Wow, that's way down there in that cartoon. Oh, yeah, way off. Okay. There we go. You know what I didn't do? You know, before you start fooling around here, does this fit? Yeah, there you go. It's like playing chess. Okay, this is not going to move. And if I pull that up, that could move. So let's put this right here. And where'd that thing go? Here it is. This is real important. I didn't think about this here till just a second ago. Oh, man. Jeez. I tell you, you can't imagine how good that makes me feel right there. Okay. Here we go. Look at this. Okay, and this is going to get cut off right here. Let me cut this off. Now I'm going to pull down, but I want to kind of pull more toward this way. I don't want to get too wild there. I just want to hold it. Okay. All right. Wow. Ugh. And you know, we still have to, now we're still going to have to lift this up just to get this in. Because you can't, we won't be able to go under there and do that. But that's not a big deal. Just these two pieces. So all this stuff fits. Oh. Generally, we didn't take a grinder to the bevels. And I sure thought that was going to happen. And then this piece, I thought it was gone. This piece. Now it's inside the original cartoon. Who cares? Because we've made a note over here. We want to size that up and get those square across from each other when we get to here. And a lot of times, when I put a star on something, that means I really need to pay attention to it. So, I see that star, I always stop. Hey, wait a minute. Something important is happening. So now, what would happen now is I'm going to put another nail here, maybe one here. We'll set this thing on there and set this, and that'll tell us, look how far out we are off the original cartoon. And I can draw the pattern underneath this thing. Let's get just one more piece. We're not going to put it in. I just want to see how. Oh, geez, that's so beautiful right there. Good night. See, this is going to really be sharp right there. And boy, we get this cut, which there's nothing to this. We get this cut, and then set this one, set that one, and we are on fire. Because we'll just come back over here and build these sections here. And this is going to be a little bit easier because we'll build these and then put these pieces in rather than the other way around. So this is actually going real well. I'm glad. I mean, I was having the devil. Heck, I think when you got involved here, yeah, we just putting this lead in and this here, and all of this we just put in. This was really not going my way there for a while. But you just have to, you know, calm down and, you know, use your head, relax, don't get angry. Don't get angry. I get disappointed, you know, that something's not working. I mean, I think, gosh, you know, but the deal is you're building this thing by hand, and it's just not easy. And boy, I mean, if you're in the you're in the early months of this stuff, I would recommend not fooling with this. Build your lead skills up on things a little more simple, because this stuff here just drive you nuts. Trying to, you know, and there stuff is moving around, and yeah, and it's real important to be rock solid. Have something to push into, to work into. That's why I don't have to worry about this thing moving. And I didn't want this thing to move. I went ahead and soldered the corner here because I don't want anything going on. I want it to stay where it is. So, woo. Man, we covered some ground right there. That's exciting. All right, well, I'm going to... Heck, it's 11 o'clock here. Boy, we're getting ready to have a big snowstorm here tonight. It might turn to rain. But anyway, I don't worry about it. I'm in my shop 7 days a week, so... by later this afternoon, I'll be back over here. I'll come back and show that to you. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. And if you have questions, be sure and ask.